God, I ask that your Holy Spirit speak through me. Ask it in your name and for your sake. Amen. Now, James Bond movies are the 5th highest grossing film series in history in the USA. They have to date grossed over $7 billion. I want you to think about that. So those movies influence a lot of people. Now I also want you to think about this. Would you want your daughter to date James Bond? You know what the appeal of James Bond is, don't you? You know, he's lawless. You know who else is lawless? The devil. At least in the old James Bond movies like Goldfinger, whichever poor girl went out with James Bond for quote unquote his quickie before lunch ended up dying. The girl helping Goldfinger cheat by using a telescope to see his opponent's hand in poker and using the two-way radio in the hotel room to tell Goldfinger's earpiece his opponent's hand. What did James Bond do to the poor woman? He got on the two-way, told Goldfinger to start losing money. Then later, the poor girl that Bond wanted for a quickie ended up dead. You know James Bond saw this coming, and for a quickie, the poor woman in the movie lost her life. Or in Diamonds Are Forever, where poor Plenty O'Toole ended up thrown out of a 10-story window and later killed for having misfortune to notice that he was winning at cards. Poor Tilly Masterson, who ended up with her neck broken because Bond wanted to get another quickie. I know it's crazy what I'm saying, but think about it. Before you press the thumbs down button, would you really want your daughter to date James Bond? What message is it really sending? James Bond is supposedly the best MI6 has to offer. Oxford educated, that he's a risky date. But because he needs to have a quickie, women are put at risk. The message it's sending is it's okay to choose a bad boy over a decent husband. Too many women today end up with kids and deadbeat boyfriends who won't stay with them to raise the kid. Think about this. Honor lost, much lost, life lost, more lost, soul lost, all lost. You see, James Bond and people like him, quote unquote, take a woman's honor. Chasing after pleasure is a true confession of an unsatisfied life. The average girl, at least in the Bond movies, would rather have beauty than brains because the average man too many times can see better than he can think. Psalm 16:11 says, in God's presence is fullness of joy. Fullness of joy. At his right hand are pleasures forevermore. So you don't have to chase pleasures. If you seek Jesus as your Savior, God will give you fullness of joy. Happy is the man who has learned to hold the things of this world with a loose hand, but you don't see James Bond doing that too much. He's grabbing the things of the world with both arms. There's more power in an open hand. This is another thing he needs to learn. The people making those movies ought to learn is there's more power in an open hand than in the clenched fist. An old-timer is one who remembers when a babysitter was called mother. I know it's hard now to make ends meet unless both parents work, but consider perhaps, if you can, working different shifts if possible to stay at home as much as you can with your kids and be careful about what they watch on the media. Too many times Christians wouldn't have to worry so much about how their children turn out if they'd worry more about what time they come in at night and what they watch on the media. Think about this. Let a pig and a child have everything they want, and you'll get a good pig and too many times a bad child. Building good children is better than mending adults. The best thing parents can spend on children is time, not money. Now D.L. Moody said, a holy life will make the deepest impression. lighthouses blow no horns, they just shine. James Bond's character in the movie has a license to kill. But to anyone who in real life is granted this license by government, be careful. You need to assess before acting on the license, because Revelation 21:8 says murderers go to hell. So if God doesn't see the situation the same way you do, you're in trouble. James Bond leaves a lot of collateral damage behind, and so sends a message to too many impressionable people that it's okay to be lawless, that there's no consequences for using women. In the movies, it doesn't even seem to bother the Bond character. After one's gone, he just moves on to another. This is not a good message to send. Yet the appeal to too many of these movies is that he is lawless.